Well, let's go back to Cote d'Ivoire now, and an opportunity to get a first-hand perspective from both sides of the political crisis. Go to our London studio, where we have Abdon Georges Bayeto, who's advisor to the incumbent president, Laurent Gbagbo, who's sitting on the left as you look at the screen, and he's joined by Issiaka Konaté, the UK president of the Rally for Republicans party, a presidential rival, Alassanne Ouattara, sitting on the right of the screen as you look at it. Gentlemen, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Mr. Bayeto, if I could start with you first of all. Your man, Laurent Gbagbo, is cornered and he's negotiating a way out. Is that how you understand the position to be?
No, I don't understand it this way. It's not negotiating anything. It's discussing the fact that France went and bombarded his palace, some institution of the country, I mean the palace, the university campus, and some, you know,
well,
the
that's
barracks.
Not what we've been hearing. We've been hearing that he's asking for UN protection, the very latest line that we've had.
Well,
Nick, just tell me,
you've been
is
having
he asking
different,
for UN protection or not?
You've been having different cables. No, it's not asking. It's going nowhere. The president is not, you know, stepping down. It's negotiating the fact to know if France is directly in war with Cote d'Ivoire, because as far as we know, the mandate they've got is a peacekeeping force in Cote d'Ivoire. So we don't understand how come they're involving themselves in bombarding the places and then killing some innocent people.
As far as you know, is Laurent Gbagbo, is he cornered?
It's not cornered. I don't know what you mean by being cornered.
So what is he? He's happily sitting in his
situation.
He's happily sitting in his residence, free to go, to move around and do whatever he wants.
Exactly. I mean, you remember 4 days ago, you guys were saying that he's got a matter of an hour to leave power, and he's still there for 4 days now. And yesterday they said that his residence was occupied by the rebels. But, you know, it's all lies. Rebellion is based on lies, propaganda, and a psychological war.
All right, I'd like to bring the gentleman who's sitting on your left in now.
But the fact that France is in fact, that's what we're worried about.
All right, Mr. Bayeto, let me bring in Mr. Konaté, supporter of Alassanne Ouattara.
That's fine, that's fine.
What is your understanding of the position?
I mean, are you surprised here? This is the same rhetoric, isn't it? It's the same people discussing the same thing, arguing about the same thing, agree on something, not agree on something, leaving power, not leaving office. This has been going on for 4 months. And you can see they're being taught the same thing, exactly the same thing. Wherever they go, from France to England to wherever they are in the world, they're still telling the same blatant lies. And me, as an Ivorian, I am sick tired of it. I want my country to be able to be free. And Mr. Gbagbo is a tyrant. And we're not going to go around the bushes telling the truth to the world. I mean, the situation going on in Cote d'Ivoire, the killing of innocent civilians.
Mr. Konaté, would you accept, forgive me for jumping in, but would you accept Laurent Gbagbo being given a way out, exile in another country for him and his family? Would you accept that as a way to resolution?
I think it's very important that Mr. Gbagbo stay alive. It's important for Cote d'Ivoire because, I mean, there are questions to be asked. What's happened in Cote d'Ivoire over the past few years? How come we have the whole youth in our country turn to militias? How do we have weapons all over the country? How do we turn students into militia? There is a question to be answered. Human rights abuses questions. There are several key issues to be answered. And I mean, this is very important. Whether Mr. Gbagbo is allowed a way out or not, the truth is, in the long run, we would need to assess the situation and make people answer for some of the things that happen in our country.
All right, let's pass this on to Abdon Georges Bayeto. We're very short of time, so we need to pass it on to Mr.
Bayeto. Thank you, Nick. You know, my brother here was talking about lies, but I remember the lies were coming from the Ouattara side. He's a rebel. Ouattara is the chief of terrorists. Everybody knows that. A rebel got one reflection. The reflection of to gain power by all cogs, by hooks or crooks. He's been coming to the country, destroying innocent life. The economic of this was meant to be if the United Nations are accepted to reevaluate the situation by recounting the vote in Cote d'Ivoire.
All right, but Mr. Bayeto, let me just put this to you. Let me just put this to you. The reality is, isn't it, that it is time for Laurent Gbagbo to give up, isn't it? Hundreds of people have died, and for the sake of peace, and for the sake of the people of Cote d'Ivoire, it's time for him to give up, because had he accepted the election result in the first place, none of the bloodshed would have happened, would it?
A document today is based on the fact that United Nations had the report on the killing, the mass killing in Cote d'Ivoire. And all those killings are perpetrated by Alassanne the rebel. You know that. It's been sending people into... let me finish. When you were talking, I was listening to you. So for courtesy, you let me finish. We know that kids were sown in well. We all know that. Villages were burned down and people were killed. This is a reflex of a rebel. Ouattara never won the election in Cote d'Ivoire. We know that it was an international plot. They had a hidden agenda. And
well, that's just simply not true, is it? The international community. I can't accept that. We have to bring in. We have to bring in Issiaka Konaté now.
Who designate
Mr. Konaté, go ahead.
Please, yes. This is very important, Nick. We're not going to sit here in London, believing what Mr. Bayeto is saying. I mean, the Electoral Commission said who was the winner? The African Union, the European Union observers, the United Nations, the whole world.
The Electoral Commission.
Would you please let me finish? Because this is where it started.
You were trying when I was talking.
I'll allow you to talk. This is the time for me now to talk. I mean, this is a joke. We said this discussion is over. There's a winner to the election. People need to have a bit of common sense. And this is not about themselves, a pure greed. This is not about it. This is about Cote d'Ivoire. And I'm launching here an appeal to all the Ivorians, wherever they are in the world today. They need to listen. Our country is not well. We can't sit here on TV in the luxury of our homes in London and not feel the pain of the people of Cote d'Ivoire and come up with some of the nonsense about the result of the election.
All right, Mr. Konaté, let me just put one thing to you. Let me just put one thing to you that Mr. Bayeto was putting forward. True to say that this is Cote d'Ivoire's internal battle, but we've seen the French there. Missiles have been going backwards and forwards in the last couple of days. You have to ask the question, which Mr. Bayeto poses, why are the French involved? Why is the United Nations involved? This is a personal issue for Cote d'Ivoire and its residents, isn't it?
Because it's an international plot and he doesn't know about it.
No, Mr. Konaté,
doesn't know.
Please answer the question.
Thanks for that. I mean, is this the first time that the international community is supporting democracy throughout the world? Is this the first time this has happened? I mean, there's been an election. Mr. Gbagbo has not had anything to say about the first round of the election when he was clearly in front. But he had something to say when he lost the election. I mean, now he's talking about the international community. The international community is getting involved in Cote d'Ivoire because they spent 300 million to organize the election, which was delayed over 5 years by some dangerous tactics by Mr. Gbagbo. Jonathan Clayton from Times Magazine was saying yesterday in the Times.
All right, listen, gentlemen, we haven't got time to get into that, unfortunately. Let me just give you one last word each. Mr. Bayeto, one last word, very briefly. One last word to you, first of all.
Yeah, Nick, there's a point you raised, and I know the young man is very excited, really supporting, he feels what he's saying. But when he comes to the Ivorian people, I think he's the wrong person to, to give an appeal to people wherever they are. Those are the people who are rebelling. Those are the people who are killing innocent people in Cote d'Ivoire. Those are the people who are putting money together to send to country for rebellion. He cannot be sitting here with the luxury of what he called the luxury in London. I don't know what sort of luxury he's got in London.
Okay, that's a very long, brief word.
It's very blatant,
Abdon Georges
and I find it very
we have to leave it there because we want to bring in Issiaka Konaté. One last word to you. Okay. Within 20 seconds, please.
Thank you. I mean, I would say again, once again, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to talk about our country. But we're not going to discuss the result of the election. If Mr. Gbagbo has clearly and peacefully stepped down as requested by the whole world and the Ivorians, these things, all the things happening in the Ivory Coast would never, ever, ever have happened. And there is one person responsible for this, and this is the man that I call I mean, the butcher of a lagoon.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there, gentlemen. It just there is a very visible demonstration of how hard it is to find unity from opposing sides, although a handshake there. So there you go, some accord between fellow countrymen despite their deep divisions.
No, we're very
Abdon Georges Bayeto and Issiaka Konaté, we're going to have to leave it there.
Tell the truth, sorry.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.